Welcome, dear Sangha, dear community. It is 5 p.m. here in California, and this is going to be our new daily gathering time for group meditations and Buddhist teachings. Just as with everything else in life, each time is going to be a little bit different. I'm not sure what to expect, but we can take this time as an opportunity to gather together as meditators, as people who are on the path of embracing what's happening in the present moment, especially in terms of present moment physical sensations in the body. Especially our experience of breathing. And we can tune into, this can be a time when we tune into this feeling of wonder, where we aren't going through life in the way that we've been going through it so far, but actually we step back from how we've been living and how we've been thinking, and we open up to what's happening here in the present moment, and to be quite curious about that and interested in that. In all of us, we have this Buddha mind, we have this freedom mind that is very accessible, but we're not usually to give attention to it. We give attention to something that feels good, or we give attention to something that feels bad in this way of getting away from it. You don't know what is happening right now. Stop grasping. For some of us, we need to be taken out into the woods for a week and left to kind of find out that we don't know what we're doing. We don't really have a strong relationship with the nature of our mind, or how to regulate our mind or our body, or how to take care of our body. We don't know how to build a fire from a wood and branches and leaves. We don't know what is our original face. Who are you really? What is your true self? This is something to be curious about. This is something to really be interested in. So please find your meditation position. Try to sit cross-legged if you can. Give it a shot. Explore this practice of really sitting in a meditation position. Okay? And find your breathing. I was speaking with someone earlier. They asked a question of, these people, they're not calling me to hang out with me. My friends aren't calling me to make arrangements, and I'm concerned about that. What do I do? Should I call them? Should I not call them? And I encourage this person Don't worry about your friends. Don't worry about your ideas. Don't worry about your expectations, etc. Rather, call your breathing. Pick up the phone and call your breathing. Ring, 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 ring. Breathing, are you there? So when we gathering together like this, we have an image of a monk, we have an image of a Buddha. Okay, it's very, it seems to be very mystical, meditative, right? So it's a good signal. We've got 5G. So we make use of it to not focus on our complicated thinking or uh, but rather to call our breathing. Give our attention to this golden breath. You can think of the most wonderful, interesting material thing that you could possibly have, a new phone or a new computer or a new car, etc., or $1,000. Your breathing right now is much more important than that. It's much more valuable than that. And if you didn't take another breath, you will start to die. So even though it's strange, even though we are easy to think about cheeseburgers or, how our day has gone or what might be coming in the future, but still there's this preciousness of the breathing. Just like someone brought you a brand new car, brand new Xbox, whatever it might be. All this stuff in the world happens. There's a tough day at school, there's a tough day at work, there's a tough situation in the relationship, but that car is there for you. So at least you have that. You can enjoy it. Right? And we think of something that's very valuable, very precious, not just a normal way of something we like, something that tastes good or so in that way, our breathing is a brand new car being given to you in each and every moment. And you should turn your relationship, turn your mind towards the breathing in such a way where you actually start to recognize that. You start to connect with that reality, that the breathing is not this, secondary kind of, all right, I'm going to meditate, look at my breathing, etc. But that the breathing is actually this precious jewel, this wonderful gift that we have moment by moment. So please find your meditation position, right? Find your prioritization, your real intention to be in the present moment and to be interested and curious about the experience of having a body, the experience of breathing. At that time, you can close your eyes or leave them open. It's not anything particular you need to do. But you start to be aware of, start to enjoy your present moment breathing experience. Start to look at it. Start to be with it. This present moment breathing experience that is totally free of any and all complicated story. And each moment that we are contacting and being with that present moment breathing experience, the heart, the body, the feeling of the weather, the nature, the sounds. It's this alive, gateless gate, this opening out, this freeing out, this brightening out. It's right there. It's like a sharp sword. And we breathe in such a way to enjoy our breathing, and where we're breathing sincerely and we're breathing deeply and we're experiencing what it's like to really give our attention to breathing and to be with that and to feel that wholeheartedly. Because whether you believe it or not, whether you like it or not, a Bugatti is a Bugatti. Period. Okay, brand new Xbox, that's a brand new Xbox. Brand new phone, etc., whatever it might be. So in the same way, a brand new house, brand new whatever, okay? Each breath, every moment of breathing is absolutely essential and valuable and wonderful. So breathe in such a way that you contact that and experience that and enjoy it. And this is the immediate teaching of Buddhism. We immediately start to bless out, to offer out when we practice like this. It's not just concentrating more, relaxing more, but it's actually to fully, to completely refresh, restart, offer out, brighten out. We don't sink into anything. We don't fixate onto anything. Every moment of getting stuck, grasping, fixated on a particular way, a particular view, we liberate that. We offer it out. We brighten that. If there is a difficulty, it means you're doing it right. We can enjoy the difficulty. We can embrace what's happening right now. Don't know, don't understand, don't grasp. Just sit. Just breathe. Just be aware. And don't even do that. Just. At this moment, we invite everything to teach us. We invite all beings and all presences, all entities, all phenomena, all experiences to be a teacher to us, to guide us. Just fully embrace whatever is happening in the here and the now. With your awareness, you can take a meaningful look. Give your meaningful attention to the body at the present moment. Is there any tension? Is there any tightness? Is there anything you are hanging on to? Noticing that and to release and relax, to embrace whatever it is that's there. Moment by moment, continuously to be aware of what is happening right now. Present moment experiencing. To do that, you have to know how to abandon and to detach. Because once you start practicing like this, you're going to get involved with the body. You're going to get involved with the mind. And then you're going to, wait a minute, I need a cheeseburger. I'm not supposed to be here. I'm supposed to be on TikTok. So we have to incorporate this detachment, this offering out, this generosity, where we do get involved in something. We get involved in some state of mind, even if it's peaceful. And we offer that out. We detach from that. We give it away, even though it comes up, even though it's real, alive. Well, you give it away. Who cares? Those real, meaningful, and deep states of happiness or peace or relaxation, you're not gonna, you're not going to wait for me to give you encouragement to be with that, to enjoy that. It's a natural. You will go deeper into those states. But for the most part, we need to be aware, not falling into the sloth or the sleepiness, laziness. Rather, we are really aware of what's happening in the present moment, and we are relaxing and releasing those knots. It's an interesting way of practice, but it's actually to give up and to give away our self fixation, our self involvement. The meditation method, just sitting here, just breathing, just being aware. So we can come back to that as our way of giving up and giving out, releasing that knot, that tension, that belief, that story. Whatever it is that we feel or notice, we can come home to our breathing. Each moment, each breath, each recognition of what's happening now, experiencing the now. Very curious. We turning the mind around. We looking to inside to understand, and we're using our power of mindfulness to give away our normal understanding or the shallow understanding that comes up. And rather, our way of understanding is our mindful curiosity, this exploration to look at, to be with, to embrace what's happening right now in a way of deep looking, deep embrace, deep being with. Consider your meditation in the way that you consider your breathing. The former breath was certainly important, and you shouldn't be unskillful. Your future breaths are meaningful to you and important to you. You care about them. But this present moment of breathing, this breath is joy. This breath is healing. This breath is the meditation practice. Nothing else. Nowhere else. No state. No special experience. Eating a cheeseburger is a special experience. This is to embrace what's happening right now. This is to heal. This is to nourish and take care and attend to. This is to just breathe and be still. And to be still even in motion. To be expressing this kindfulness, this gentle lovingness, even in the midst of knots, friction, suffering that comes up. Come home to the breathing. Come home to the reality of just sitting here at this present moment, breathing and being aware. So this is the path and the practice where we are not to accept anything or anyone or any experience being the ultimate, or to be desirable, or to be rejected. But it's a matter of investigating the truth here in the present moment. What is happening in the here and now? What is the nature of birth and death? What is the truth? This is where that real curiosity comes in. It's the curiosity of someone who wants to know about the truth, not someone who's here to have fun. So, as we become interested in what's happening in the here and now, as we become interested in present moment experience, we are looking more and more closely, more and more deeply, more and more directly, really interested, really curious, looking closely. You don't get tired or bored of breathing. You don't say, well, I've been doing this for a long time, so, I don't think I'll do it much more. It doesn't interest me as much. The more you connect with this unobstructability, not so easily obstructed by this experience, that experience, the more closely and deeply you can look into what's happening right now. Look into your breathing, feel your breathing, enter your breathing. It's very strange, it's very curious, it's very alive. It's how you are able to be alive right now. You want to know about birth and death? Well, your breath is a great place to look closely and deeply and directly. Better to do nothing. Better to be uninvolved, but awake, aware, alive. You're not asleep. You're not drifting off. You're really with it, and you're really doing nothing. You're just sitting here. You're just seeing. You're just breathing. You're just aware. You're just resting, whatever it might be. You can also recognize and have this experience that this is exactly what's happening right now. It's not something else that's happening. What is this? We answer that with our looking, not with our thinking. I know that you may not have your songbook in front of you, but I feel inspired to um, practice some of this meditation. It's almost like a metta meditation in a way, but we sing, we express our um, mind power to plant these positive seeds. And this is the song about um, coming back to the island within ourselves. So we get pulled out into um, this person, this situation, this environment, this past, this future. We come home to the island within ourselves. So if you know this song, please do sing along with me. Okay? Breathing in, I go back to the island within myself. There are beautiful trees within the island. There are blue skies and water. There are birds, sunshine and fresh air. Breathing out, I feel safe. I enjoy going back to my island. Not to be stuck in anything, not to be confused by anything, because the matter that we are involved with as a sincere practitioner on this path is to know about the truth, not to know about what we like or what we dislike or what we want or what we don't want. We already know about that. We've spent our whole lives, oh, I like that, oh, I don't like that. I will go over there, I will go over here. This is the place where we stop, and we to recognize that we stop. And we to recognize that the ground of our reality is not some complicated story. It is not our grasping, but it is our releasing that shows us the way. Okay, at this time, does anyone have any questions or sharing experience? maybe sharing about what their practice has been lately or any question they have in general. Okay, so you have a question, Danielle? You raising your hand over there? All right. What about the little one? Hopefully they'll ask what is their question. You tell to them. But we can't hear you, so you need to unmute your microphone.
What would you like to ask? You're shy now? You're not going to say nothing?
This one may be too small for questions. How about another one? I saw some bigger ones over there. Maybe they can ask one.
Do you have a question? About breathing? About peaceful mind? Yeah. What's your question? Ask him. Come. What's your question? Any question? You want to
Okay.
think about it?
I will tell you. The meditation method for you. And it's very simple. You don't need to think too much. It's just to be a flower. Have you ever seen a flower? Yeah.
Yeah, I love flowers.
You see the
I love
flower.
flowers.
The flower, it is blowing in the wind, but it is still a flower. The flower,
Oh,
it is
I like
raining
it.
down, but the flower is still a flower.
No.
So you practice meditation to focus your breathing, and that is to be a flower. You're just to practice a flower meditation. You should try to be a
Okay.
flower as much as possible. The flower doesn't need to worry about anything. The flower doesn't need to go anywhere, doesn't need to move, because it is rooted to the ground. The flowers stay in one spot, just breathing, just being a flower. So you can also practice like that.
See?
All right?
Yeah, I like it.
Flower
Cool. I like
meditation.
it.
And next time
I like your flowers.
anyone try to interfere with you or bother you, you say to them, "Excuse me, I am a flower." That's it. You tell them goodbye after that. Okay.
You like it? Good?
Yes,
Nice to
I
meet
like
you.
it.
Yeah, nice to meet you. All right. Thank you, Danielle, for sharing your loved ones with us. Okay, so Chesh says over on YouTube, Bhante, what is a good practice to help free oneself from desiring the respect of others? So what is a good practice to help free ourselves from desiring the respect from other people? Well, for myself, I see my faults. And I see that as much as I am maybe skillful or attractive in some way, it's just as much that I can be unskillful. I have those seeds of unskillfulness in me. I have those seeds of unattractiveness in me. Right? Holiness and unholiness. I have those seeds there. So I kind of remember that, I don't need people to respect me. I need to do my best to take care of myself and kind of respect myself, to honor myself. And that's to see that inside of myself is not just, wisdom and strong or whatever, but also suffering and delusion and difficulty. So at that time when I feel that energy to, other people should respect me, it's just like the song, right? Breathing in, I come home to the island within myself. I bring it back. And I'm aware of, that I'm not a perfect person. And there's a lot to be humble about. There's a lot to be gentle about. And I don't need to hold on to this particular view of, other people should treat me like this or... But I'm speaking from a little bit of a unique position because I'm a part of a culture where there's a lot of different systems for showing respect to the monks, and in that way it can almost be like encourage those seeds in me of wanting the respect of others are watered by certain aspects of the culture within Buddhism. So yeah, trying to work with them through humbleness and patience and gentleness with myself, so that I just am where I am. I'm an imperfect person, and I hope that other people, regardless of what their view is or what their position is, I hope they can have some happiness. I hope they can take care of themselves, and it should be okay. Should be okay to let them be the way that they are and not desire the respect from them. Okay, hopefully that's helpful, Chesh. Creo says, Bhante, are dreams considered important in Buddhism? Dreams are not considered important in Buddhism. What's important is this quality of waking up. So refreshing, restarting, beginning anew, stepping into the present moment. And the dreams that are considered important in Buddhism are practical. It's case by case. Is our water clean? Do we have access to the good food? Right? Are we taking care of each other? Is someone hurt? Right? Do we need to address something? Do we need to take care of something? Then that dream or that created truth, we can say that relative truth is important because we're involved in this caretaking, this parental mind, and so at that time it is important. But otherwise, it's all about waking up and not putting ourselves to be unnecessarily involved in the relative, not unnecessarily involved with making drama or making problems where they aren't there. Just kind of taking care of what comes up, and then the making or the creating of dreams or the creating of dramas. Hopefully, I'm more of a comedy person myself, but there's a lot of great dramas out there too. Is the intention to do good deeds, the intention to practice generosity, getting involved in doing good deeds more and more. Now we're talking about there's a lot of wiggle room for how we work with the created truth, or we work with this dream-like perspective of self and other and particular place, particular situation. But it's all very practical, it's grounded, and it's just full of this good intention. And we work with it from where we are. But where we are, I try to keep where I am always in relationship to this wholesome intention, coming back to mindfulness, and an awareness of impermanence, anicca, anatta, dukkha, impermanence, no self or interbeing, and this dukkha, or this suffering, really brings me home to the sense of detachment, because I recognize that any experience I have, mental or physical, or bigger, broader idea that I have, mental or physical, is ultimately not separate from anything else. So hyperfixating on it is not really practical or realistic, because it's not really separate from anything else. It's impermanent, whatever it is, and it's ultimately not going to satisfy me. It's not going to be satisfactory. So that detachment practice is alive and is good to be remembered, even in those situations where you are, to do good deeds or to take care. There is no present moment. But we can point to what's happening right now. We can come home to our breathing. We can come home to being in nature. We can come home to our senses, right? Our seeing, our hearing, our smelling, our awareness of the body. And this is a simplification and a stabilization and a blessing. We bless inwardly and we bless outwardly. Right? Because you don't want to get stuck on this body or mind either, because this is just one body and mind. There are many, right? So we want to be involved in those blessings of mindfulness, because to simplify, to stabilize, to joyify, to happify, to lovelyify, to gentle this situation, this body and mind, and the body and mind of all others as well, and the environment. Yes, Jonathan.
When answering one of your questions, you mentioned that in your unskillfulness, not that you are delusional, but you said something about having delusion. Uh, the understanding I have of delusion is that, according to Western psychology, a lot of times people can't see their own delusional state. So, as a Buddhist and a practitioner, how do you recognize when you're in a deluded thought? You need outside help, and how do you address that?
See yourself as a fool, and you won't have too many issues. Okay, so I think you told me before that you're involved in Aikido or involved in some martial art. All right. Well, if you think that your position as a martial artist is in any way absolute or powerful, this is not to be humble, but it's to be self-fixated. It's to be arrogant. And you versus a bear is always going to work out the same way in terms of practicing your martial art. So see yourself as a fool, and you won't take so seriously these attachments. Whether they're skillful or unskillful is secondary to not being fixated on them or attached in them or holding on to them, because whatever it is, it's impermanent. Especially when we're talking about the more, materialistic, even mentally materialistic side of things. So not to attach to a particular view. What should you attach to? Attach to generosity, attach to patience, attach to the Buddhist teachings that are effective and skillful for you. Attach to wholesome states of mind, your joy, your peace, right, your freedom. And if you see yourself kind of to be foolish, overall to kind of be a fool, then you're not going to get stuck in any state. You can just enjoy, right? And it's a humbleness. It's not self-negativity, but it's to see yourself in this humble way of there's such a capacity for me to improve and to grow, and there is such a limit to my capacity when I'm self-fixated. So that self-fixated version of yourself is a fool. That non-self-fixated version of yourself is your original face, right? Your Buddha face, your Buddha nature. So that is not foolish, but that accepts foolishness. It's inclusive of foolishness. So that being a fool is wonderful. I'm a fool. I'm very unskillful a lot of the times. Well, that's okay. And I'm here and I'm with that. People don't need to respect me. That's okay if they don't. If they do, okay, that's up to them.
Thank you, Bhante. And do you find that you sometimes encounter the way you're waking up to the deluded state is you encounter people or a situation that doesn't necessarily coincide with the way you were thinking about yourself, or is this all based on just internal exploration and looking at yourself?
You may find that, well, a fool is relevant in every situation and every place because everyone loves to laugh. Okay? A foolish person that recognizes their unskillfulness and doesn't take themselves so seriously, well, you're an enjoyable person to be around. But that moment that we take ourselves to be very serious, we may find ourselves as a high-level Aikido practitioner in an MMA ring, and you're gonna wake up really quick to the reality of Aikido versus MMA. So that's what you're talking about is more related to just practical situations when you are encouraged to step back rather than move forward because there's a recognition that you don't really have a capacity to be in that situation without becoming confused. So for a regular person, right, who's on the path, you just to enjoy that stepping back and that coming home, right? Breathing in, I come home to the breathing, to the body, to the present moment, and then that sense of curiosity can just guide you from there. But if you're taking yourself very seriously in that situation, then it just becomes very complicated, and you're going to ruminate, and it's very confusing. So just to detach and to take those moments as an opportunity to step back. But it's not really that there's a particular version of yourself that's deluded or not deluded. It's just self-fixated thinking arises. Beliefs that are based in attachment and desire or fear arise. We become aware of them, and we can come home to our breathing. We can step back from the importance that we give to those.
Got it. Thank you, Bhante.
Yeah. And this joy of our meditation practice is that we don't need to wait for some complicated situation to come up where we, now we're like, oh, I need to reevaluate myself. And, you don't need to wait for that life to come in, a car crash. I mean, for me, I found that when I've like tripped and fallen, or when I crashed on my bike, a bike that I was riding when I was staying up at Deer Park Monastery, the mind is running, the mind is going cha 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 cha, crash. So the joy of meditation is that we don't need to wait for that crash. We don't need to wait for stubbing our toe or banging our head against the shower or something like that, to step back and to wake up and to nourish ourselves and care for ourselves. We don't need to wait for that great difficulty. We can experience it and be involved with it quite wholeheartedly, right here and now. Okay. Elise, go ahead. Can you unmute your microphone? Yeah, I can hear you.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay, good. Thank you. So over the past year or so, I've gotten pretty good about um keeping in mind suffering and like finding joy in suffering and all that stuff that we preach and whatever. And lately I've been having trouble keeping that same positive mindset when it comes to like the bigger, scarier sufferings that are out in the world. And it's kind of hard to keep that mindset, and instead I kind of just get in my head. I get a lot of anxiety. I just have trouble seeing the bright side and like all of that when it comes to the scarier
Right.
sufferings that are out in the world.
So we can practice in a wholesome way and in a somewhat grounded way, to branch out from our usual way of doing things. So we go into a situation that's unknown to us, and that is perhaps a little bit scary or a little bit tough, and yet we embrace that and we walk through that. For some people, it might just be going for a walk outside, or going for a walk in nature, or going to see if there's a meditation group in your area, going to visit, or a monastery or something. Like, that's a big deal for some people. It's, you're out of your comfort zone, and you feel that anxious, you feel that fear, but in most cases everything's going to be okay. In any case, everything's going to be okay. So try to practice that more, to go outside of your comfort zone and to face those adversity and to face that friction from that place of stability and wholesomeness when things are somewhat under control. So one way we can do that is by, having a deeper meditation practice. So sitting together, not moving, staying in the same position for, 30 minutes or 45 minutes or an hour. That's one way to start contacting that. But what I've found as well is it's going to be helpful if you start to prioritize the precepts. So in Buddhism, we have these 5 precepts of don't kill. So that means bugs, and you keep it in mind, you don't kill anything or anyone. Maybe that means you get a little bit of vegetarianism involved, and that's great. But don't kill, don't steal. It also includes like snooping or just taking what's not offered. Don't lie or speak harshly to yourself or to other people. Be very careful with your sexual energy. Okay, so be very careful with your sexual actions. Right? Exceedingly careful. And then number 5, don't take a drug or intoxicant. So when we start to follow the 5 precepts a little bit more closely, it gives us a container for looking at and being a little bit more aware of those subtle ways that we run away from the dissatisfaction that's here right now. So finding that, not really to search out that deeper fear inside yourself, but rather to embrace yourself more deeply and more consistently so that you have this protection against travesty or great dangers, great calamities, because you're involved in doing more skillful activities, doing less unskillful activities, and in that way you're protected in a lot more ways than you can imagine. Right? You're working with reality. Not in a superficial way, but actually in the most subtle way of regulating your mental and physical actions. Okay? And this is a powerful activity, so it's not just that you've got a rose quartz with you, but you're actually refraining from intoxicating the mind so that more stabilization can take place, more simplification can take place, and that's going to be available for you when difficulties do arise. And when it comes to fear, Thich Nhat Hanh wrote a book on fear, and maybe that's something we're going to start looking at. Thich Nhat Hanh, Fear. Okay, there's a book right here, Fear, Essential Wisdom for Getting Through the Storm. So this is probably what we're going to start looking at the next few days at this time. We're probably going to start looking at this book. Is this the right one? Fear, Essential Wisdom. It's got to be. Yeah, it's got to be the right one.
He also has a book, No Death, No Fear.
No Death, No. I think we're going to do Essential Wisdom for Getting Through the Storm. That's the one. So I'm going to put that in, that just says ear up there. I'll put that in I'll make an announcement about this, but put it in the YouTube. And if you want to pick up that book, you certainly can. And we'll start to look through that in on these evening sessions. All right. And maybe we can get a copy out to people if they're not able to afford one or get one for themselves. We'll see how that goes. Does that sound good for everyone? Yeah.
Thank you, by the way.
Mm-hmm. Sure. Thank you for your inspiration and your sincerity. Okay, so let's leave it here for this evening. Thank you, my dear friends, for all gathering together. And keep with your mindfulness, keep with your do-gooding. And we will finish with some Buddhist chanting, Namo Tassa. And you're welcome to chant along with me if you know about this chant, but at the very end, we will say sadhu together 3 times, and that's easy for everyone to follow along with. And this sadhu is means well done, good job. So we kind of recognize and we appreciate the wholesomeness of our activity, and we lift that up. And the Namo Tassa is in relationship to lifting up our Buddha nature, our enlightened nature. We really put that high, not how we can be more beautiful or more powerful or more wealthy, but how we can recognize the Buddha nature, the freedom nature, the peace nature that is truly inside of us and is accessible to us at any moment. Okay, welcome. Welcome to chant together with me. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato sama sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato sama sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato sama sambuddhassa. Sadhu. All right, thank you all so much for being here. Please remember that we will start to have our daily schedule of 8 a.m. California time and 5 p.m. California time every day. So welcome to join us, all right? See you soon.
Bhante.
Thank you, Sila.